Hey there, Internet! My name is Chris, and welcome back to Wizard Way. It has happened, it is finally here. Harry Potter Hogwarts Mystery is now live. You can now download the game from your App Store, from your Play Store, and I'm super excited for the video today, because today I am sharing with you 10 tips. Simple things that you can do for Hogwarts Mystery to help you be a success when you're playing the game. These are pretty basic beginner's tips, but no spoilers, so bonus. I hope you guys enjoy the video, and let's get started, shall we? Tip number 1, first and foremost, you need to watch your data usage with this game. It does say right on the opening screen that this game does take a fair amount of data. They do suggest that you have a Wi-Fi connection, so if you plan on devoting yourself to your studies at Hogwarts, definitely keep in mind that the game takes up a good deal of data, and you'll want to have a steady Wi-Fi connection to play the game. Tip number 2, make your unbreakable vows. There are 2 things in this game that you have to decide right off the bat, and you can't take them back. These 2 things are basically your unbreakable vows in the game. We are talking about choosing your sex in the game, and then shortly after that, choosing your Hogwarts house in the game. So it's up to you guys how you want to make your avatar look. You can basically try to make it look as close to you as possible, or you can create an entirely different character that you want to play in the game. But keep in mind that once you pick which sex you want your character to be, either male or female, you have to stick with it the entire game. The same goes with the house that you get sorted into. There is only one sorting ceremony. You do have to choose which house you're going to be a part of, and once you make that decision, there's no turning back. You will be supporting that house for your entire career at Hogwarts. For most, this won't be a problem, but if you're not sure which house you want to be sorted into, I definitely recommend going to Pottermore. Try taking the sorting quiz. There are also websites that you can go to that have every single question from Pottermore in one quiz, because they do only have a selection of questions every time you take the test at Pottermore. So definitely take that test, see which house that you'd be sorted into, and take that into consideration if you're on the fence. But again, this is something that you can't take back, so definitely make a choice you're going to be proud of, and choose wisely. The next 3 tips are basically all having to do with your in-game goals. You want to know your goals and know the basics of the game. So I've broken this up into 3 different tips. 1, know what your goal is about XP. Doing any task in the game will award you XP points, and when you level up, you get different rewards, coins and gems, things that can be used to purchase energy, which is how you do all of your tasks in the game, or buy accessories from the in-game store. Your XP also, in general, sort of represents your progression through the story, so it is going to be important when it comes to increasing your stats over time in the game. More on that in a second. Second point of knowing your in-game goals, you want to pay attention to your house points. In Harry Potter Hogwarts Mystery, the House Cup is a real thing. You can actually compete with the different houses and try to gain points in order to increase your chances to win the House Cup at the end of each term. So, you do want to be paying attention to the icon that shows you where your house points are, and you do want to keep it in mind when you're interacting with the various characters of the game. If your goal is to win the House Cup, don't antagonize your professors, especially Professor Snape. Snape is notorious for really deducting points from any house, and this goes for Slytherin too, so Slytherins are not safe. If you make Snape angry, he will take off a lot of points from your house, and you might not be able to regain those points later on. So, if you're going to have to lose points anyway with Snape, don't make it worse on yourself. That being said, you can gain more house points when you take classes. So after you complete a class, you get more points for your team. The more classes you do, the more points your team gets. It definitely pays off to take your classes at Hogwarts. Also keep in mind that moral fiber did play a role with both Harry and with Neville Longbottom in Harry Potter. So make good choices. Try taking the high road when you're in arguments. As much as the game will allow, try not to be a rule breaker or a troublemaker. And for goodness sake, if you make a promise to a non-playable character in this game, do your best to keep your promises. All of these things seem like they're tiny, but they will add up to how many house points you have deducted or added to your total. And if your goal is to win the cup, make the choices appropriately. Part number 3 of knowing your goals in the game is you definitely want to pay attention to your personal stats. There are 3 personal stats when you start out this game. They are courage, empathy, and knowledge. You do gain these various stats by completing classes in various subjects throughout the game. So take a look at the various subjects, see if you'd like to specialize in a particular stat. You can choose one, or you can take the approach of jack of all trades and basically try to level up all 3 of them as you go along about equally. Both approaches do have their benefits and their drawbacks, so it really is up to you. This brings us to tip number 6, if you're counting along with me. Tip number 6 is optimize your choices. Or, as Trelawney puts it, broaden your mind, look beyond. Trelawney does actually have a point in this case, though. Broaden your mind at Hogwarts by taking your classes. Take more classes than you need to take. Some of them you have to take for certain tasks in order to progress the plot along, but it does pay to take extra classes in this game. It raises your stats, it gives your house more points, and raising your stats is actually important because during your dialogues with various characters, sometimes there's a choice that you can only choose if you have a stat that's high enough for it. So, say in order to do something particularly courageous, you have to have a courage of level 5. If you don't have a level 5 courage, you can't make that choice. Sometimes making those choices that have higher stats yield your team more points. So again, this all ties back with how many points you want to get, whether the House Cup is a goal for you. Optimize your choices. By taking more classes, you have more choices with your dialogue, and that means you have more opportunities to gain more points in the game. So take a page from Hermione's book, use that time turner, and devote yourself to your classes. Tip number 7 is a bit of a longer one, so bear with me, but it is manage your energy and time wisely. If there is one aspect of this game that will undoubtedly annoy you, it is that every single task takes energy. But, of course, energy is in relatively short supply. Some will see this as a clear money grab, and you wouldn't necessarily be wrong. The game has to make money somehow. This is the easy way for Jam City to do it. You can basically take real money, and in the in-game store you can purchase gems. Gems are then used to restore your energy in the game. But it does take a rather large amount of gems in order to make any big impact on your energy counter in the game, so it does end up meaning that you're spending quite a lot of money in the game if you're taking advantage of that. But this is by no means necessary if you don't want to spend money. You just have to be smart in order to avoid it. Time management is a little bit tricky, but you do have to ask yourself a couple simple questions. How much time do you currently have to spare? How much energy do you currently have in the game when you're starting a task? And of course, the flip side of that, how much energy do you need in order to complete the task that you're about to start? From there, it's all a matter of strategy. For instance, classes in this game are divided into 3 different options: 1 hour, 3 hour, or 8 hour. These represent how much time in real life you have to actually complete the task, not necessarily how long it will actually take you. If you're starting with a full energy counter, it's relatively easy to start a 1 hour task and complete it in short order. But when you look at the potential rewards for each of the 3 types, 8 hour classes give you the most rewards. So you have to take a look at how much you want to get out of it and how much time you actually have to spend playing the game. Just for reference, a 1 hour class in the game takes about 20 to 25 energy in order to complete. A 3 hour class in the game takes about 50, and then an 8 hour class in the game takes around 90 energy. So keep that in mind when you're trying to time manage. Last I checked, the energy counter in the game replenishes 1 point of energy for every 4 minutes that you're waiting in real life. So that ends up being 15 points of energy for an hour of waiting. Just keep that in mind. So if you just woke up and you know that you're going to be able to check in on the game a few times in the next few hours, definitely choose an 8 hour class. because you'll be able to check in frequently, you'll get the most benefit out of it, and you can usually finish that class within the first 3 or 4 hours of that time that you're allotted. Conversely, if you're just winding down for the night and you know you're not going to be on the game for several hours, don't start an 8-hour class. You'll want to start something like a 1-hour class, or perhaps a 3-hour class if you're going to be up for a little while. That way you hopefully finish the task and then go to bed with an empty counter so that your energy will replenish while you sleep. Tip number 8 is related to the time management, and it is time your level ups carefully. When you level up in the game, your energy bar actually replenishes all the way. So, especially when you're at the beginning of the game and you're leveling up pretty frequently, this really helps you be able to take more classes more quickly. But keep it in mind and pay attention to your XP bar when you are actually taking classes. If you know that you're going to need an 8-hour class in order to level up, when you're waiting for your energy to replenish throughout the 8-hour task, make sure that you only wait as long as you need to in order to complete the actual class. If you have a full energy bar and you only use 3 energy out of that, 20 or 30 energy that you have in order to complete the class and level up, you end up missing out on a lot of extra energy that you could get. So just keep an eye on your XP bar and definitely take a note when you're about to level up so that you gain the most benefit out of that full recharge of your energy bar. Tip number 9 is set alarms or enable notifications for the game. If you're starting a task you know is going to take a few hours, do a little bit of math to figure out how many times you're going to have to come back after replenishing your energy again. Planning ahead in that way sometimes means that you're going to have to set alarms on your phone. If you do take too long on a class, you will have to start over again, and that's definitely no fun. It's super annoying. So in order to avoid that, definitely set reminders for yourself, or you can enable the notifications for the game. Hogwarts Mystery does have notifications, but they tend to be a little bit on the subtle side. You'll basically just get a tiny little notification at the top of your screen reminding you that your energy has been completely replenished, or it will tell you to start a class if you haven't done one in a while. So if that's the gentle nudge that you need in order to take action in the game, then that's all you need. Just enable the notifications and you're good to go. Tip number 10 is explore your surroundings. This is a way that you can get free energy in the game. There are tons of little details that they've put into this game, so actually looking around and tapping on different things does have a benefit. It can get you energy in the game, and it will help you learn a little bit more about your surroundings. Free energy is always appreciated in this game. There are portraits that you can tap throughout Hogwarts that will gain you an energy point. There's a twig on the grounds that if you tap that, you get to see little puppy Fang come out, and you also get a point of energy. And even in the dungeons, there's a really tired, poor house elf that if you tap, he will run away. And it's really sad, but you get an extra energy point. These little tasks that you can do for free energy replenish in about 6 hours, so you can take advantage of them typically twice in a day, maybe even 3 times if you're playing a lot. Last but not least, this isn't really a tip, but have fun with the game. Don't feel obligated to rush yourself through the game. While there is a plot, you can also just have a lot of fun playing around and taking the various classes at Hogwarts. Patience is a huge virtue in this game, especially if you don't want to spend any actual money in order to replenish your energy throughout the game. If you take your time, your progress might be a little bit slower, but it's not really a competition. Savor your time at Hogwarts, and definitely enjoy the plot as you discover more about the Hogwarts Mystery. That is it for this video. If you have any other tips or tricks that you know of, definitely leave them in the comments below so other people can take advantage of them. Otherwise, I will see you soon on the channel for Intro to Potions class, as well as some Harry Potter Hogwarts Mystery gameplay. Until then, take care, and Nox.